Alright, and we're back again with a couple more examples of solving systems of equations with multiplication and addition. Another example here where we have the system of equations 4g plus 5h equals 7 and 6g minus 2h equals negative 18, and we're going to solve the system. And I already have the first step kind of written out here on the screen, where we are going to take both equations and multiply them by something. And the reason why is because if I look at the g's, if I just try to add them together, the g's aren't going to cancel out, nor will the h's. So we have to multiply one of them by something. But if we try to multiply the top equation to get rid of the g, we have to do 4 times what gives us negative 6. Well, that's 1.5, and then that's kind of a mess. I don't want to multiply by mixed numbers or fractions or decimals or anything like that. Same kind of thing happens with the bottom equation. If I want to multiply the bottom equation by something to make this 2 a 5, that's again, 2.5, and then that's just kind of a mess. I don't want to have to multiply 6 by 2.5 or 18. I could, but I just don't want to deal with decimals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change both of them. I'm going to multiply both of them by something so that these coefficients are opposites. And what I'm going to do is multiply through the first equation by 2. I'm going to multiply the top equation by 2 and the bottom equation by 5. And the reason I'm going to do that is because when that happens, when I change these two equations by doing that, I get this system of equations. The top equation, the 4g, becomes an 8g because 4 times 2 is 8. The 5h becomes a 10 because 2 times 5 is 10. And the 7 becomes a 14 because 2 times 7 is 14. I just multiply the whole top equation by 2. I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by 5. 5 times 6g is 30. 5 times 2h is 10h, and then it's still negative because it's a negative. 5 times a positive 2 is a negative. And then 5 times negative 18 is negative 90. So this is the new system where I've changed both of the equations. I've manipulated both of the equations. And now, if I add these things together, the h's will go away because the h's are opposite. So now if I add these together, the g's simplify to 38g because 8g plus 30g, both positive, is 38g. H's are gone because we have a positive 10h and a negative 10h, gone, nothing there. And then 76 because 14 plus negative 90 is negative 76. If 38g equals negative 76, that means that g is equal to negative 2. Now that I know that g is negative 2, I can go back to one of the original equations. I could even use the 2 that I changed them into and plug in negative 2 for g. So what I'm going to do is take the top equation, and I'm going to replace that g with a negative 2 because g is negative 2. We just found that right down here. So now we have 4 times negative 2 plus 5 times h equals 7. So we got to use a little bit of algebra here to figure this out. 4 times negative 2, this right here would be negative 8. So negative 8 plus 5 times h equals 7. So by using algebra, I would add 8 to both sides to get 5h equals 15. And if 5h equals 15, h has got to be 3. If h is 3, this sentence then makes sense. Therefore, g is negative 2, h is 3. You can plug that into an ordered pair, have the g coordinate here, h coordinate here, or just say g equals negative 2 and h equals 3. Either one is just fine. But the solution to this system is g equals negative 2 and h equals positive 3. Next example, at a concession stand, 2 pretzels and 2 boxes of popcorn cost $3.50. 2 pretzels and 4 boxes of popcorn cost $6. Find the cost of each item. So we needed to kind of decipher what is it that we're trying to figure out. Well, we're trying to figure out the cost of each item. We're trying to figure out the cost of a pretzel and the cost of a box of popcorn. And we have 2 pieces of information here. And from that piece of information, we can come up with the equation 2 pretzels and 2 boxes of popcorn are $3.50. Because 2 times how much ever a pretzel is, plus 2 times how much a box of popcorn is, that's $3.50. That information is given to us here. And then we say that 2 pretzels and 4 boxes of popcorn are $6. So the other equation we have is 2 pretzels and 4 boxes of popcorn is $6. Here's our system, and we can now use the system to determine how much each item is. So we have things lined up nice and evenly. The P's are lined up, the B's are lined up, and you can use X and Y. It doesn't matter what the variables you use are. I'm just using P for popcorn, or I'm sorry, P for pretzel, and B for boxes of popcorn. But you can easily intermix those, it's just fine. And then we have our equal signs lined up and our total cost lined up. And if we try to add these together, nothing will go away because it's close. The P's might, but they're not opposite. We want one of these to be negative. And if they're one of them's negative and we add them together, one of those P's will go away. So what I'm going to do is take the top equation and just multiply it by -1. Just make everything opposite. So when I do that, the new system, this top equation becomes -2P plus -2B equals -350. Everything becomes opposite. Bottom equation stays the same. Didn't change it, don't need to change it, because now I have opposite coefficients here with our P's. Adding these two equations together gives us no P's. They're gone because they're opposites. So 0P, you can just leave that blank, plus 2B, because -2B, plus 4B is 2B, equals 250, because -350 plus 6 is 250, or you could say 6 minus 350 is 250. So 2 boxes of popcorn is 250. Well, if 2 boxes of popcorn are 250, 1 box of popcorn must be $1.25. And now that we know that a box of popcorn is $1.25, we can now figure out how much a pretzel is by plugging it into one of the equations. So there's your box of popcorn, that's $1.25. Now we're going to plug this in. So this little equation that just popped up right here, this is the bottom equation, but I just replaced the box of popcorn with $1.25. And then I'm going to do the algebra to solve how much a pretzel is. So 4 times 125 is $5. So 2 pretzels plus $5 is $6. Subtracting 5 on both sides gives us 2 pretzels is $1. If 2 pretzels are $1, 1 pretzel right there is 50 cents. So the cost of each item, 1 box of popcorn is $1.25. 1 pretzel is 1 pretzel is 50 cents.